Hi guys, it's Rob from Rollerballs. While I've still got snakes to look at, let's have a look at some more of what's left in my racks. Part 2, we're going to look at Cypress and Blackhead. So let's get after it. Alright, today we're going to look at Cypress and some of the Cypress hatchlings that I have left. The male that I used for all of these hatchlings was an Enchy Cypress Ivory. And because he's ivory, that means the minimum combination we can get from him is a Cypress Yellow Belly. I do not have any straight Cypress. So this is a Cypress Yellow Belly. What are the features of Cypress? Well, the brightness for one, but if you have a look at the alien heads, very similar to a Spotnose pattern. It is in the same complex. Cypress is in the same complex as Spotnose, and so we expect to get quite a Spotnose pattern. Strong dorsal with some of these aberrant hooks, donuts and dashes along the dorsal. But the key feature of Cypress is that pale blushed out head stamp. Wide open eye stripes with the colour going down the neck. You can see that here. This is very characteristic of Cypress. So a blushed head stamp that extends down the neck. And the good thing about Cypress is as it ages it looks exactly the same. This is a yearling Yellow Belly Cypress. This one is just a few months old, and you can see that they've held their colour. Again, we see the same feature, that blushed out head stamp with the colour extending down onto the neck from a very open head stamp. We're going to compare this to Blackhead in a moment, and so the thing that I want you to notice here is that the eye stripes on a Cypress are a normal width. They look fairly normal, but they are a little bit short. They stop short to allow that light coloured head to bleed down into the neck. So an open head stamp, but the eye stripes are quite a normal width, just a little bit short. Fantastic gene for keeping colour, and also a fantastic pattern enhancer. This one is also a Cypress Yellow Belly. It is deep in shed, unfortunately, but I think you can see that it's a slightly lighter colour. This is actually the lightest of the Cypresses that I've got, and this is where Yellow Belly hasn't made too big an expression. It's a little bit lighter, but still Cypress Yellow Belly. Alright, so this is what happens when you put Cypress into pinstripe. This is a pinstripe Yellow Belly. There is no Cypress in this snake. You can see the Yellow Belly has given a nice coloured head stamp, very well defined, and Yellow Belly is doing its typical thing on the pattern here and putting all these nice flames up the side. So Yellow Belly gives a brightening over what a normal pinstripe would look like. There is no mistaking when we take the same snake and put Cypress into it. So this is a pinstripe Cypress Yellow Belly. Yellow Belly again gives it those nice flames up the side, but you can see that Cypress has put back that very blocky pattern, very reminiscent of Spotnose, the brick pattern of Spotnose. It's very regular. The snake itself is much brighter than the snake underneath that does not have Yellow Belly. Again, if we look at the head stamp, the head stamp is starting to give a head stamp that looks a little bit like Spotnose. If we look at the head, light coloured, and that colour, although it's distorted by the pinstripe pattern, that colour extends down the neck. So an open head stamp again, quite short eye stripes, but a normal width. So what happens when we take our pinstripe yellow belly and we add Enchi? There we go. Enchi brightens and also breaks up the pattern. So we've lost this nice pinstripe regular framework to the snake and we've broken it all up using Enchi. And you can see the back stripe is also broken. Pinstripe, yellow belly, Enchi, Cypress. It is Enchi, you can see that from the eye stripes which almost close up the head stamp at the back. You can see that instead of the broken pattern, Cypress has put back some of those regular brickwork patterns. So we've got a brighter snake. You can see the similarity in the broken dorsal that Enchi has brought, very similar to this. But Cypress brings a whole new level of colour to the snake. So that's another example of what Cypress can do in combos, and it's getting quite hard now, especially with Enchi, because you can see how Cypress and Enchi react together to make it look a little bit less Enchi-like. So this is what I believe is a yellow belly Enchi Cypress. Enchi and Cypress fight each other, and you can see the snake is trying to be Enchi, it's trying to be banded here, but the alien heads are also trying to be that typical brickwork pattern that Cypress brings. We also see some popcorning up the sides of the snake. You see these little white popcorn, I call them popcorn, little white flashes up the side, also seems to be typical of Cypress. The eye stripes are typical Enchi, but they do stop short, the head stamp is blushed, and the colour does extend down the neck. So it's taken me quite a while to convince myself that this is actually a yellow belly Enchi Cypress. Now, this guy here is a Blackhead Enchi, and you can see how Blackhead and Enchi fight each other again. So the snake is quite banded, but is trying to have those very Spotnose like alien heads. So again, in Blackhead, which is in the same complex, Blackhead and Cypress are allelic. This has yellow belly, but you can see how the pattern with Enchi in both these examples fight each other. So this is Blackhead, same complex, much darker head stamp, and you can see the wide Enchi eye stripes, but they stop short in Blackhead. So if we take our yellow belly Cypress, really bright snake with a nice light head colour, and compare it to a pastel Blackhead, we see a remarkably similar pattern. Both have this very Spotnose like pattern, but obviously the Blackhead is much darker. So Cypress, light head stamp, short eye stripes with the colour extending down the neck. Blackhead has these characteristically stunted eye stripes, very thin and very short. Characteristic of Blackhead is those very thin, short eye stripes. So again, you can see the similarity between Blackhead and Cypress. They are allelic, they are in the same complex, and they do look very Spotnosey like when you mix them into certain combos. So we've got our yellow belly Cypress, the bright light coloured snake, and we've got our pastel Blackhead, the dark snake, but both of them have those characteristic Spotnosey like brick patterned alien heads. So again, I'm going to do the comparison here. This is a yellow belly Enchi Cypress, and this is a pastel Blackhead Enchi. And again, you can see the similarity when we add Enchi to Cypress and Enchi to Blackhead, the similarity in the pattern. Enchi and Blackhead and Enchi and Cypress fight each other. So again, we've got two very similar snakes. This is the pastel Blackhead with Enchi, and this is the pastel Blackhead without Enchi, and you can see that we've lost the banding. This snake here is much more banded than this one. So this is the one. This is pastel Blackhead without Enchi. This is pastel Blackhead with Enchi. And this is yellow belly Enchi Cypress, and you can see the similarity in the way that Enchi and Cypress and Blackhead react together. So it has taken me some time to convince myself that this is an Enchi Cypress. Cypress is a lilac with spider because it's in the spider complex or Spotnose complex. Cypress and spider are a lilac. My male Enchi Cypress Ivory was actually bred to a spinner, which is a pinstripe spider, and this is a pinstripe spider yellow belly Cypress. You can see the spinner pattern, the pinstripe spider pattern. It is yellow belly, so we do get those flamings up the side, but because it's a lilac, we get this tremendous reaction with Cypress. Now this is a Cypress spider combo which typically wobbles, but you can see that it does not stop this female from thriving. She's a really good eater, and provided that you don't excite her or stress her out, she has no problem with orientation. When I feed her, yes, she does get excited and she does start to wobble, and Cypress has not helped that spider wobble, but it also hasn't stopped her from thriving. So this is a spinner yellow belly Cypress. So pinstripe spider yellow belly Cypress. Let's take the full house. Let's add Enchi to this snake, and we get an even brighter snake. This is the full house, and yes, again, when she gets excited she does wobble, but she's a great eater and it hasn't stopped her from thriving. So you can see how the typical spinner pattern here with the brickwork pattern has again been broken up with Enchi. And Enchi and Cypress are again fighting each other to produce a regular pattern. Cypress wants to put in a regular pattern and Enchi wants to make it banded, so they fight each other. Again, spider and Cypress is a lilac, which is why these two snakes are fantastically bright. So do not underestimate the power of a lilac complexes. Perhaps Cypress and spider is not the best use of an allelic relationship, but certainly Blackhead, Cypress and Spotnose mixed together are going to be absolutely awesome. So there you have two spinners. One is a yellow belly spinner Cypress, and one is a yellow belly spinner Cypress Enchi. Both of them phenomenal snakes, both of them with a slight head wobble. So just while we're here, I want to show you an example of Sable. Sable is also in the same complex as Cypress, Blackhead and Spotnose. So this is actually a pinstripe Sable Orange Dream, and you could be forgiven from looking at the pattern in thinking that this has Enchi in it. It does not. It's the Orange Dream coupled with the Sable that is doing that. So there's an example of Sable in pinstripe with Orange Dream, and unfortunately this guy here, who is deep in shed with a much more regular pattern, I need to get you guys a picture of this when it's out of shed, because this is a pinstripe sable, orange dream yellow belly, and when he sheds he is phenomenally orange. The orange dream yellow belly in combination with the sable is giving this, again, look at that regular brickwork pattern, typical of the Spotnose complex. So all of these genes, Blackhead, Cypress, Sable, Spotnose, all tend to give this nice brickwork pattern depending upon what you mix with them. This guy underneath has orange dream but no yellow belly. This one has orange dream and yellow belly, which we know works particularly well together. It's a shame that he's in shed, but I think you can see how incredibly orange he's going to be when he does shed. Okay, just while we're on Cypress, let's try something a little more difficult. We did import a Het Gotham from Justin Kabelka in 2020, and it came with something extra. This is one of the offspring. It is a leopard clown, but it has this second row of dots along the flanks just underneath the dorsal. The head stamp is not particularly unusual, but it is a little bit lighter than we would expect for just a leopard clown. We have been able to confirm with Justin that there was Cypress in the pairing, so we suspect that this guy is actually a leopard Cypress clown, and we're going to have a look at some of his offspring to see whether we can see Cypress in the offspring. So this is a leopard clown paired to this female, and this is a Spotnose. You can see from the head stamp that this is quite clearly Spotnose, but you can also see from the belly and some of the flaming up the sides that this is a Spotnose yellow belly. So it is a Spotnose yellow belly to a leopard clown who we think might be Cypress. Let's take a look at some of the babies. So we did get a leopard yellow belly. This has the classic leopard pattern with the extended alien heads all in a line down the side. It has the dot on the head of leopard, but you can see that it is quite blushed, typical of yellow belly. And if we look at the sides of the animal, you can see that yellow belly has added a yellowish tinge and some digital edge markings down the flanks. So this is a leopard yellow belly, and this guy here is a straight leopard. You can see the difference. The leopard yellow belly, this one is much yellower than just the straight leopard. The straight leopard also has the dot on the head, but not quite as blushed as the yellow belly. And if we look at the belly, you can see the classic zippered pattern down the belly of this leopard. We got a straight leopard, we got a leopard yellow belly. Now you remember that mum was a Spotnose yellow belly, so the leopard has come from dad and the yellow belly has come from mum. This guy here, you can see, is brighter again. There's the head stamp, leopard, but you can see some of these teardrop alien heads all the way down the side. Bump, 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 bump. Teardrop alien heads which do not look like Spotnose, but is certainly a modification of the leopard pattern. The head stamp also does not show Spotnose. I think if we look at the belly is quite white. No yellow belly in this, no digital edge markings and no yellow tinge. But you can quite clearly see the pattern distortion here and some white edges to some of these alien heads. This looks like Cypress. This is a leopard Cypress, I believe. So here is our straight leopard, here is our leopard yellow belly, And here is our leopard cypress with these very characteristic teardrop alien heads. So let's take this guy and add yellow belly, and again you can see the much yellower colour of this one, but again we have these characteristic teardrop alien heads. If we look at the belly, you can see now the yellowish tinge and the edge markers in comparison to this one, which has the very white belly and no edge markers. So this is leopard cypress. This, I believe, is leopard yellow belly cypress. We were looking for het Batmans, and Spotnose in leopard tends to draw out all these alien heads, but you can see that Cypress hasn't done that. Cypress has made these teardrop alien heads. So a definite modification that looks like something close to Spotnose. There's no Spotnose in the head stamp. So there's a progression again. This is leopard cypress, this is leopard yellow belly cypress. What happens when we combine all the lot? Remember that Spotnose and Cypress are allelic. Alright, so this one really bright, and I think that is no doubt at all that this has Spotnose in it. No doubt that we're starting to see that Batman-like pattern, but again we have these strange alien heads and the really bright colour. So compared to this one, which is leopard yellow belly cypress, this one adds Spotnose. You can see that the belly is slightly yellow, so this one is actually what we were after. We were after het Batmans, but this is much brighter than a het Batman. This is a het cypress Batman, and here again you can see the characteristic teardrop alien heads that Cypress is giving. So that's the next progression. This is a leopard yellow belly cypress, this is a leopard yellow belly Spotnose cypress, and Spotnose and Cypress are allelic, and it's obvious when you look at this animal and how bright the head is that we are seeing Cypress. So this is Cypress Spotnose combined. Okay, let's take a jump back to Orange Dream, and I did do a pairing between a pastel leopard and an Orange Dream yellow belly. This is a pastel leopard, just like the mum. You can see the head stamp is slightly blushed and silvery, that's the pastel. You can see the typical leopard pattern with all these alien heads here, the keyholes all lining up in a line and drawn out towards the rear of the snake. So this is pastel leopard, leopard yellow belly, and you can see how yellow belly has influenced the pattern somewhat. This is the snake that we looked at earlier, and you can see the belly is slightly tinged with yellow and has those digital edge markings. This one is leopard Orange Dream, no yellow belly in this one. Again you can see the typical leopard head stamp, but it has that donut around it that Orange Dream gives. What's the difference between the leopard yellow belly and the leopard Orange Dream? There isn't a great deal of difference in the pattern, but there is a lot of difference in the belly. This has a kaleidoscope belly. The camera is not picking that up. It is quite orange. There's the yellow belly, leopard yellow belly pattern, and there's the leopard Orange Dream pattern. So here we go, three snakes together: leopard yellow belly, pastel leopard, and leopard Orange Dream. Okay guys, thanks for watching. We'll have another episode tomorrow, and we'll look at clowns, we'll look at lavenders, and we'll look at some other stuff that's still sitting in my racks before they all go off to ARP and I go off to Oman on my fishing holiday. So we'll see you tomorrow for the next one.